No, but they just set the equipment up and they pushed the board. I don't know where they lost it.
Okay, I'd like to call to order the meeting of December 8th of the Lafourche Levee District. Please rise to the pledge. Mr. Terrio, will you lead us in the pledge, please?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mary, roll call.
Keith Gidry.
Here.
Gavin Colley.
Here.
Roland Curall.
Here.
Mitch Dowse.
Here.
Brett DeRoche.
Here.
Scott Terrio. Brian Martz.
Here.
McNeely Rome. Monty Vegas. Mr. President, we have a quorum.
Okay, thank you, Mary. All right, you've been presented the minutes of last month's meeting. Looking for Brett that we accept. Second by Mr. Rowland. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Okay, on the President's report, all I have is most of us all attended the ALBL meetings this weekend, or the end of last week in York, and very informative. On the executive committee meeting that following morning, we had they presented to us some changes for next December's meeting. There's going to be a lot less and a lot. We're just going to have our big meeting in the spring in Baton Rouge. So it's kind of tough around Christmas time for this one, so they're scaling it down, and Nick and I have the agenda for next, if you guys want to look at it. All right, moving on, executive committee. Scott, Nick, you'll...
Well, looking at the executive committee agenda, I'm going to cover pretty much everything in my report, so if y'all want to just
okay.
dispense with reading those minutes.
That's good. All right. Anyone here from the audience to address the board? Mr. Terry, you have something?
Ducks Unlimited.
Yeah. Okay. Go. Okay, you can go ahead. I'm sorry.
Is this where I stand? Yes. I don't come here enough. Sorry, guys. Amanda Voisin. I'm the Coastal Restoration Coordinator for Ducks Unlimited. I'm here to thank you for a few minutes to briefly talk about one of the projects that we are partnering with you on, and we received some pretty exciting news last week. We received a notice of funding in the amount of $4,483,400 through the National Fish and Wildlife Foundation National Coastal Resilience Fund program, and that is a project that South Lafourche Levee District is a partner on, as well as ConocoPhillips and Lafourche Parish government. So if you look on the screen, the hashed area is the marsh creation footprint, and it's a total of 233 acres of marsh creation, and there's also going to be 2,000 linear feet of living shoreline associated with the project as well. We're also going to partner with Restore a Retreat to do a supplemental volunteer planting event once this project's constructed. It is using a borrow source from Catfish Lake. It's going to be about a mile and a half to pump it to the spoil area, and yeah, we're just super excited. We want to thank you so much for partnering with us. This is a drone footage of part of the project area. It's going to wrap around that existing CAP project up against the levee. I know I used to work for Lafourche Parish Coastal Zone Management, and this project has been around for a long time, I think from Nick's days as well. So it's super exciting that we got funding finally for this really important project. And once again, thank y'all for agreeing to partner on this with us.
Any questions, anyone?
Yeah, just to kind of piggyback on this, what Amanda was referring to, that CEP project, you can kind of see the outline here. This is an old project back when Amanda said she was the Coastal Restoration Director for Lafourche Parish government. Before her was former Parish President Archie Chasson. Before Archie, it was me, and Archie at the time was actually working for Picciola & Associates as a project manager. And Archie and I worked on getting this project constructed through Lafourche Parish, and Wendell had a lot of help in getting that CIAP project approved and funded. And so that's this marsh creation area here. The project Amanda's talking about that we did last year, year before, agreed to partner on to the tune of $500,000, is continuing that in this area here. This was definitely an area that Wendell had targeted for many different grant opportunities, trying to get marsh created around here, because this is one of our more vulnerable areas. You have Oak Ridge Park back here in Golden Meadow, and the Ronald Colley Pump Station right here next to the boat launch. And it's just an area with Catfish Lake, off to the right of the screen if you'd be, zooming out. It's a really vulnerable area that used to have a lot of oil and gas canals that's just opened up more and more over the years. So it's pretty exciting that Ducks Unlimited was successful in getting this project funded.
Well, thank y'all so much.
Thank you, Amanda.
Thank you.
Robert Cherrio from Raceland, Louisiana. Thank you, Mr. President and Commissioners. I'm here today to talk about a local program available to the local high schools. It's called the Riley Program, which is the Rotary Youth Leadership Academy. And it's being held in Abbeville. Every year we hold it in the summertime. We're now taking applications. So if you have children or grandchildren or nieces or nephews or whatever that are interested in a leadership program, it's a very well, very good program, totally funded by the Rotary International. And certainly put in your application. We'd be glad to pay for it through the Rotary. Of course, I'm a member here in the Golden Meadow Rotary, so we highly encourage your applications. Also, I'd like to wish everyone a Merry Christmas, and we're having a Christmas parade, Rotary here in Golden Meadow, this coming Saturday, and hopefully you'll take the time to come and see us out there. Thank you.
And you said you were going to leave some flyers?
Yeah, I'm going to leave the flyers on the table here. Thank you.
I'll look at it. Thank you. Mr. Ray Sherman?
I'm gonna ask my wife to come over. I'm deaf. My hearing aids are not working correctly, so if anybody says something she don't like, I'm gonna hang up.
My wife says the same thing.
Anyway, before I get started, I want to say that I don't live in the 10th Ward, but my family has approximately 300 acres in the 10th Ward, and I'm utilizing some of it. And I've always been proud of what the South Lafourche Levee District has done, but we seem to have a problem that has been haunting the cattlemen that live in a certain area, and I want to address that. I mean, I'm fed up with it, really. Anyway, let's get started. It's a continuing flooding of cattle pastures in the area from the Yankee Canal to the Airport Road by our government entities. In 1992, I subleased 500 acres from my cousin Pete Jeremy, which consisted of 500 acres that LL&E owned, the property that was burning last month. During that time that I leased it, between 1992 and 2004, what I call the Loop Bayou, what Loop left when they finished, was so dry, we had a dry year just like this year, that you could cross it with a four-wheeler. Well, one morning I showed up and went to the pasture, and the Loop Bayou was full of water. Within a week and a half, I had lost 5 cows along that bayou. I had LSU come check the cows. I thought maybe I had 200 cows on the property. I thought maybe I had a disease. It wasn't a disease. They died from drinking salt water. The water was so high that it killed them. So anyway, after that, and by the way, the property that I'm using is Borders, our representative Joe Odrum. Has 100 acres there. I've been there 40 years this year. the Lafourche Levee District backflowed water into Loop Bayou with salt water killing my 5 cows. After that, we started having problems going in the back, checking my pastures, everything was nice and dandy. The next morning, I get a phone call. Did you check your pasture this morning? No, it says they got water all over. What was happening is the airport was pumping at night. And by the time Lafourche went and checked their pumps and started pumping, they had flooded about 1/3 of our pastures. And not just me, a number of us that happened. The only time that it got stopped, I came to a board meeting here, and I went and talked to the commissioners of the airport, and they corrected it. Now, when they pump during the daytime. If they pump at night, they're supposed to call Lafourche Levee District and tell them about it. So we haven't had that problem again with them. But after that, we started having more and more siphoning of water to save golden matter, which is fine. But they siphon so much water that the pumps can't keep up. They don't start enough pumps. So we get flooded again. And this has been going on. Now, I came to a meeting. Ronald was still president, still alive, and he seemed to understand that. That seems to have kind of backed off. Last month, they got a fire in that place where I used to have cows. I had 6 to 18 inches of water on the back 20 arpents of that 100 acres that I have. Now, guys, this is ridiculous. That's taking an abuse on the cattlemen and without question. Why did they have to put so much water for that fire? I can show you how they could have done better than that. They didn't have to flood the whole area from the Pointe Associés to the Airport Road. I'm not the only one that's complaining about that. I'm the only one that's got the nerves enough to come say something about it. Now let me say something about something else I want to bring up. Let's talk about the 10th Ward. At one time, you had people that could make a living trapping. Nothing no more. You had people that can make a living shrimping. That's down. Crabbing. I have a man that's leasing property with me. He's got a crabbing, and he told me that salt water is getting into the fresh water so much that it's hurting the crab industry. The oysters, I don't know. I'm not familiar. Sugarcane. We used to have sugarcane all the way in back of the Bellevue Hall, all the way to where the hospital's at, on LA1. Sugarcane on that side to buy all the way past Lafourche. Now they got one sugarcane farmer left in the 10th Ward. One. And he's not even from Lafourche Parish. Cattle, that's down. So are y'all trying to kill the cattle industry too or not? Are y'all going to help the cattle industry and do something about this overburden of putting extra water that we flood the pastures? I'm 80 years old. I've been in the cattle business since I'm 11 years old. Bought my first heifer when I was 7, when I was 11. But it hurts me to see that we're not helping young men like Donovan, who wants to stay in the cow business. His pasture was all flooded too. So I'm here to ask y'all to tell me that y'all are going to start doing something different.
Good. I'd be happy to address Mr. Jeremy's concerns. So just for a little more background information, like many of you are aware, there was a marsh fire in mid-November, and I want to get my date right. This would have been November 14th. We were contacted by ConocoPhillips, who was working with the fire department, and then I had Drake contact the fire chief down here at Devon Dayton to coordinate for that weekend where the fire had been burning for a few days. And at first the fire department had decided we'll just let it kind of burn out on its own. It wasn't really posing a threat other than just environmental issues. Then what happened was they started having wrecks because of what they were calling on the news a super fog, right? They had fog mixed with the smoke, and so it became a public safety issue. So that's when the fire department decided they were going to step in and do something. The landowner, as Mr. Chairman mentioned, is ConocoPhillips in this area. I'll pull up Google Earth so we can be looking at the same area together while we're talking about this. So this is, just for bearings, this is Raphael Project Road here in Golden Meadow. This is pump station number 4 here. This is Old Yankee Canal right here. And then we've got our siphon that pulls off of Yankee Canal from Bayou Lafourche when we need to lower the bayou water quickly to make sure that we don't flood the town of Golden Meadow. So the siphon can pull off of this area straight from the bayou and pump into the drainage area, but right near where pump station number 4 is. And ideally, our pumps at number 4 are able to keep up with the water as it's coming in. There we go. So, well, if we can get through technical difficulties. The parish does have an outfall canal here that the fire department was looking to get portable pumps brought in, and they placed one here, and they had another one along the ditch next to, on the south side of Raphael Project Road. The footing of hose that they had was limited, and so they did their best just doing ground reconnaissance, seeing how close they could get the pumps to where the fire was burning at the time. So this would have been, by the time Mr. Shermy brought it to my attention on November 18th, if I recall, it was a Tuesday. And by that point, a good bit of the fire closer to the road was already put out, and we were trying to see how the fire department could get the fire that was still burning in this area and a little in this area better addressed. The problem that Mr. Sheremy is pointing out is that, as we all know, because we live on a delta, the highest area of land is closest to the bayou. The further away you get from the bayou, the lower the land gets. And so the lower the elevation of these canals gets as you get back towards our drainage canal. In order to get the water from the drainage canal up the outfall canal to where the pumps were, again, because we were limited on how many feet of discharge hose the pumps that were brought in had, we had to raise the water levels in the canal above normal, where we normally operate them, because you're working against gravity here. It's not you can just, oh, I need, 2 more inches of water here so we can raise 2 more inches into the canal and it's going to be fine. I don't have an exact footage per, how high per feet towards the bayou we needed to go. This was more of an emergency situation, and so we monitored it on a daily basis. Multiple times a day we had our guys out there with the fire department, making sure that everything was safe and we weren't flooding any homes or businesses. And so as we got the water further up here, like Mr. Sheremy's saying, the pasture area around here that connects up against our drainage canal, the lowest elevation parts of this land started to see increased water, which is understandable. Mr. Sheremy called me on the morning of the 18th, and I was on my way down to this area when we spoke. And at that time, I got with the fire department, since Mr. Sheremy, speaking of fire department, since Mr. Sheremy had brought that to my attention that he was starting to see water on the back of his property, I talked with the fire chief, and we worked with the landowner to change the game plan, and we pulled up some LiDAR data after we took drone footage with the fire department to see where the biggest ridges were, because just looking on a map, you can't really tell exactly how the landforms in this area work, where the highest elevations are. So I called up Picciola and Associates to provide us with some LiDAR data, which they were able to do, and that helped us to make a different plan of action, which I then called Mr. Sheremy that afternoon and let him know that we were changing our plan to be able to move the pumps as far back. So we were able to move them another 1,000 feet further back, which allowed us to lower the level of the water another about half a foot from where we had been operating it before. So we do recognize that doing this at all, working with the fire department to try to put out this fire for a public safety issue, did negatively impact the backs of the property. And so we managed it as what we felt in-house was as best as we could. It was an unfortunate situation, but like I said, it was more of an emergency situation where another public agency in the area asked us to help because it was a public safety issue. It was causing accidents, and so I did communicate with you guys on the board, as y'all remember, to keep y'all informed of what was going on. And so it is unfortunate that, you know, there was no perfect situation in this event, but we were able to work with the fire department to successfully put out the fire sooner than just letting it burn out on its own and minimize the number of accidents that were happening on the highway. So at this point, we did take salinity readings on the morning of the 19th, and at 7:30 a.m. it was at 3.2 parts per thousand, which is not very high, but when you have, you know, pastures that are not used to seeing very salty water, there's a big question mark. I think Mr. Shermy's got a valid concern here, as well as probably any of the other cattlemen around there. That I did make a call to the Plant Materials Center with NRCS down here and discussed the issue with them. They didn't really have any good data to back up one way or the other what we might be seeing, but they did recommend that if any cattlemen in the area do see any lasting damage, to contact the NRCS office in Thibodaux. That they're familiar with a lot of our cattlemen in the area, and they're definitely willing to work with y'all however y'all may need to try to maybe replant grass or address the situation as it moves forward. So those are just the facts of the situation.
I went right through there yesterday. I don't see a whole lot of damage to the grass yet, but it stinks, and the cows are not going to eat it. Now, if we get some more rain and it keeps washing it out, perhaps. That back section behind Loop I had locked. Not my cows going on that, because my intentions were the 1st of December. I put them in that. They could have been in that hog heaven until the end of January. So now, I'm not sure if they're going to eat it anyway. But anyway, I've got some literature for you if you want to look at.
Sure.
On damage by salt water and damage on grass. I'm not sure what could be done, but I can tell you, I understand that the fire was set in there again afterwards, right? Second time?
That, I don't have
It was
any
set
information on that. Yeah, so,
Thanksgiving Day, it was set back on fire.
yeah.
So that could happen again next year. That just abandoned property. The weeds, the trees, everything will take over. It's going to get worse and worse. Point at the canal that's right before you get to Puente Suci's property line, right there. If you'd have blocked that canal in the back and put one of these hydraulic pumps, you could have pumped into that canal and filled it up. Block it off, pump out of the reservoir in the canal, and keep pumping until you flooded the whole area, without having to sacrifice the pastures for the cattlemen.
Because along that ditch, you got 6 culverts that were put in for that property to drain.
Yeah. No.
You could have done that on both, the one along the Shell Road too. Block it off, let a little bit of water come in, but not to flood everything, and just put pumps pumping into those canals, and they would have migrated across that lower area, because it's lower right in the middle. It's high in the front and it's high in the back next to the reservoir. That would have eliminated all of this. Now, one thing I'd like to bring up, and I don't know for sure if that actually happened, but a few years back, I understand that there was a move with the board to install a pump at the locks. Install a pump that would pump when the water comes in, that the boats are coming in and out. Install a 38-inch or 48-inch pump that it would kick automatically on. And that would have been a win-win. But I understand, I can't prove it. I understand that Wyndham said, no, let's put it at the pump station. That way, when we get heavy rain, we can utilize it. Well, I think the pump at the locks, you might want to think about this. It would work automatic. I mean, the oil field, everything works automatic. It would work automatic, and you have a person there 24/7. Round the clock. You have a person to watch what it's doing. You don't have to call out somebody from the Levee district to go store the pump back at the pump station. That pump's right there with them watching the locks. That'd be a good investment. Anyway, I sure hope that the next time something like this happens, I'm not the smartest man in the world, but call me, I could give you some good ideas maybe. Like blocking them two canals and just pumping in the canal and letting it flood the whole area in there. So, all right, thank you.
All right, let's move on to our executive director report.
Thank you, Mr. President. First item up is the bid opening results for our hunting and fishing lease. So we have a hunting and fishing lease in the area that you can see here. We do own some property out, more property than is just kind of indicated here, all in this area that occasionally does come up for lease. We advertised. According to law, we received one bid back. It was Mr. Edward Robichaud, and the 900.
Yeah, total amount.
Yeah, the total amount was $900. It was at a value of $2.63 per acre. The area was Section 17, Township 20 South, Range 24 East, containing 341.96 acres. And so we recommend that bid be awarded for that hunting and fishing lease to Mr. Edward Robichaud.
I see this is a 5-year lease.
Yes.
Yes,
It's
yes,
5 years, so it's $900 a year.
correct.
That's right.
All right, you've heard the recommendation of our general manager to award this hunting lease to Mr. Robichaud. Moved by Mitch, second by Gavin. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. Next up is the intergovernmental agreement with the Greater Lafourche Port Commission for lock operations. This is a renewal of our previous agreement with the Port Commission where they cost share in the expenses related to our employees that operate the lock 24/7. We have 4 full-time lock operators that work on 12-hour shifts in 5-day on, 5-day hitches. And so this agreement in your packets is for $200,000 per year for a 5-year period. So we recommend that be approved.
All right, you've heard the recommendation of our general manager to accept the contract with the Port Commission. Moved by Mitch, second by Brian. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passed.
Thank you, gentlemen. Next up on, whoa. Let's see, incidentally, nope. Go. All right, so this was the same week that we had the fun with the fire. On November 18th, around 2 p.m., we were made aware that a tug pushing a barge impacted some of our pile clusters that protect the flood wall along the Intracoastal and LaRose. It looks like after Angela Design went out to assess the situation, 5 pile clusters were damaged and affected. And so we do have some of these photos, and I'm not sure why this is all automatically advancing like that, but so there are some photos here of damaged pile clusters. A little out of order, but I'll ask Mr. Neil Angelet to come up and give an update on the quote package that was sent out.
So, yeah, as Nick mentioned, we did go out and investigate. There's a total of 5 of these clusters that were damaged. 2 of them were the 7 pile clusters, and 3 of them were the 12 pile clusters. So we took quotes from 4 local contractors. We got three quotes back, with the low quote being from Tidewater Dock for a total repair of $135,909.70. We did compare that to what the original construction cost was of the features, and it was just a couple of $1,000s more per cluster. For example, like the 7-pile clusters we originally built for $14,000 or so. The bid was about $18,000, and the 7-pile clusters, same thing. We had built them for about $22,000 a few years ago a piece. This bid came in a little over $25,000 a piece. Mobilization costs from Tidewater was very reasonable at $11,500. So overall, still within the same cost scheme that we had before from the original construction. Given it's a much smaller project, I think it's understandable that it's a little bit more per feature. But we do recommend awarding that to Tidewater.
Any damage to the wall itself?
Nothing that we can see. I think
Did its job.
it did its job, but unfortunately they got destroyed.
So just an update on the impact itself and the responsible party. We have been coordinating with Harbor Patrol. We have not identified the vessel yet, or at least not enough to make it public. And so Harbor Patrol is getting us the footage from the camera along with the AIS system that tracks vessel traffic throughout the entire United States, but specific to this area, they did find a vessel that matches the description and matches the footage on the camera, that it was a large barge pushed by a tug that was moving west around 2 p.m., and there was only one vessel that meets that description in that time frame. And watching the AIS system, Harbor Patrol said that you can see the vessel moving, and as you can see in the site plan here for where everything is going to need to be repaired, said as the vessel was moving under the overpass here on Highway 308, the vessel is moving at a set speed and then stops as it gets under the overpass for a few minutes and then starts back up again heading west. So it was pretty obvious that this was the vessel.
You said 2 p.m.?
2 p.m., yes. So once we get all that information, we've done a formal request knowing that this has some legal possibilities. So we had to submit a formal public records request. We should be getting the footage and description of all that back from Harbor Patrol tomorrow or Wednesday. And then that'll give us that information to be able to contact the responsible party and discuss the incident with them. So I would recommend that if we do award, we award contingent on negotiations with the responsible party, that obviously, and I'll coordinate with our attorney as well, that we make sure that we're in a good spot to be able to request them to cover this charge. But that would be my recommendation, that we would accept the low quote, but not give any notice to proceed until after we're able to coordinate with the responsible party.
And when we're gonna start looking for investigating that boat? This week? Because I think we should just wait, get all the information from him and say, oh, they might be able to do it for cheaper. I mean, you know how many boats pass in there a day?
Yeah.
I would find out who it is. They may say, oh, well, I can get a barge and do it for cheaper than $135,000. Y'all know how I feel about the pilings. So here we are, we spent $1 million, so now it's $1,135,000.
I would still like to have control of those repairs. I don't know if anybody come and say, oh, I'm putting you some pilings and they're 4 foot in there.
Right, and that would be part of the negotiation, that this would be the plan that they would have to follow.
I agree to that. But
well, let's give them the authority as a need, you know, I mean, we got to do something if we don't.
Yeah.
We don't find the.
I mean, what Mitch is saying is definitely valid. We did a similar thing with another company locally on the lock that they were able to do it cheaper.
Board, we can come do it, but.
I have opinions about how that turned out, but we can definitely, like I said, when we contact them, you know, definitely give them that first right of, you know, we have this quote in. If you can find somebody who can do it for cheaper, then we'll be open to that, knowing that it would have to follow exactly this plan that's already been developed.
Yeah, and we do have a little plans and specs package that these contractors quoted on that could be fed to that responsible party and give them the option to build that.
So, I mean, it's up to y'all if y'all want to wait until January to formally approve it, or if we could say, we'll have these negotiations, we'll bring our attorney in, and as long as, if they don't have a cheaper option to do that, then today y'all could, so that by the next meeting, it could potentially already be
We should
in the
do
works.
something, we should have an answer if it's for us to pay or these both, yeah, we do that.
Okay. So that would be that, I'd recommend that y'all approve and accept the low quote contingent
If we
upon
don't find the,
the responsible party refusing to
okay.
take
Heard
that
the
project on
recommendation of our
themselves.
engineer and our director. Moved by Brett, second by Mr. Rowland. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, thanks, Steve. All right, next up, I'll definitely invite Russ if he'd like to say anything, but an update on the Cajun Coral project last month. Performance Energy Services and Natrix came by to give an update on their proposal for a shoreline protection or an extension of the current shoreline protection project that we have in place in Golden Meadow on the west side, not far from the new bridge that's crossing the levee in Golden Meadow. One of the questions was definitely about a final cost and the specifications of what was going to be placed along the levee. And so last month, President Guidry and I went out to Amelia, to the yard where these things are constructed. And so we got a tour of the new and improved facility since the last time I saw this operation a couple years ago. And so just some footage of the 3D printer that Natrix has developed at the yard.
Pretty impressive.
And then this is after the water injection is complete in the concrete mixture. So it's pretty impressive that this set of needles is specially designed to only inject the exact amount of water as the entire system gets raised to create whatever shape they design in the computer. And so that's during the process of injecting the water into the mixture, so that apparatus at the top that has all the needles pointing downward is slowly moving up as it injects the water. And then, so this is a shot of it after they're allowed to cure overnight. And then after the curing process is complete, they remove all the excess sand and dump the forms in a tank to get rid of all the extra material. And then this is what they look like afterwards. So this is about the size and shape of what was installed previously in Golden Meadow. These are, I believe, 18-inch height units. And that's nickel blanc standing on the side there for reference to what ours are going to be. These are a little bit higher at 2.6 feet. And so I'm definitely happy with the shape and the size. They're much more robust than what we have in there right now. And I think the elevation is going to be good and pretty comparable to the work that we've been doing with our sheet piles along the shoreline. Per linear foot, the cost is going to be cheaper for us than what we've been doing with sheet piles, having all this put in place. And so this was their final submittal, that it would be 233 units, $300 a unit, and so total project cost of $69,900, minus $35,000 of matching funds from Shell. I didn't know if that was public yet, that it was going to be Shell that was going to be partnering on this project. But so Shell is going to be pitching in a little over half of that cost. So for us, it would be $34,900 for plus or minus 700 linear foot. So I think the discussion last month was that we were all in favor of the project. We just needed some final dollar amounts to be solid.
I got a question. Can we get private donors if they want to match that? How's it work if we go and say, hey, I got 20 people that want to give 20,000?
Yeah, I think we've done well with some private partnerships in the past. I mean, we're doing one with Ducks Unlimited right now on the project that we spoke of earlier. So yeah, I mean, I think this is a good opportunity to have it out there that if we have any other companies or other
or people who just want to give and just come up with, okay. So,
that this project, the units are just being delivered to us, and our guys and our equipment are gonna put them in place. So it's really not a big effort to expand this at any point in
Right.
the future.
Just to
If
see.
anybody wants to purchase more of these units to expand that shoreline protection,
Okay.
it's definitely a good opportunity. So this would be to approve that quote for what would be a cost to us of $34,900 for 233 of these units.
$1,000.
Okay, you've heard recommendation of our general manager to accept the quote of $34,900 for the coral reefs. Moved by Brian, second by Brett. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. That's my report.
Okay, any other questions for Nick? Engineering report, CPRA.
I do not have anything new today. May I ask and try to get something?
Next year, Daniel, next year.
Corps of Engineers, anybody from the Corps?
No one from the Corps.
That's odd. Project engineer, Missy Olens, Joe.
Yeah, on the La Rose Lock project, we continue working with the parish's consultant for the HMGP grant. They have all the information they need from us at this time. We've provided a hydraulic study of the area that shows the benefits of installing the new gate and forming a lock. We've also done benefit cost analysis with them, which also proves positive for the project. So they're working their information in anticipation of submitting it to FEMA for approval. On Section E North levee improvements, Construction Site Specialties is the contractor. They are nearing completion on this project. We've exhausted all of the material out of pit number 1. We're pretty much, with another couple of more days of hauling, we'll exhaust all the material out of pit number 2. And then we're going to work finally on pit number 3. They've got the first 1,200 feet from the Clovelly boat launch going south completely done. That's a crown and protected side berm. So after they finish grading and shaping, they're going to continue working from the curve there and then going towards the south. And the crown is done. So they're basically working on the protected side berm now. So we anticipate in the next 45 days or so we'll be completely finished with the project, is what we hope. So we do have Construction Site Specialties pay application number 19 in the amount of $167,400.73, and we recommend you pay that.
All right, you've heard recommendation of engineer to pay construction site specialties, $167,400.73. Moved by Brad, second by Mr. Rowland. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passed.
And we also have pay application number 14 from Campo and Sons in the amount of $48,875 even, and that's for grading and shaping along the project in coordination with Construction Site Specialties.
That's on the same project.
Yes, sir. So we do recommend you pay that.
All right, you've heard recommendation of engineer, pay application 14 of Compo and Son for $48,875. Moved by Mitch, second by Gavin. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passed.
Okay, on Section A East levee improvements, we're still working with the Corps to get final approval on this project. We're still doing the SAR report, which is risk analysis, our third-party analysis of our project. We anticipate that sometime in the first quarter of next year we should have final approval on that, and we'll have the permits and we can go out for bid.
The SAR, which is the Safety Assurance Review, that's a third-party review that's required by the Corps whenever you have a structure issue that could affect life safety. That scope of services that we had to get from a third party, it has completed its review at the New Orleans district. They've submitted it up the approval chain to the division level, to the risk management center. So the risk management center is reviewing the scope of work right now, and as soon as we get comments back from them, we're going to be able to turn that contractor loose and hopefully get this thing moving a little more.
It's an emergency gate closure at the La Rose floodgate. So this project was completed by TLP Construction. We're in the lien period. The lien period is gonna expire in the next, sometime in the next week. So what we're asking you to do here is to pay application number 3 in the amount of $14,000 even, contingent upon them providing us with a clear lien certificate in the next 2 weeks, which then we would release the payment. So if you can approve that now.
All right, you've heard the recommendation of engineer, pay a TLP, pay application number 3 in the amount of $14,000. Moved by Brian, second by Mr. Rowland. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passed.
And section D North levee improvements. So we've done all of our surveying work. This is from pump station number 6 at the Breton Canal down basically to the Schwess Farm on the east side, going through Loop. All of our surveying is complete. Most of our plans for permitting are complete. We're developing the design cross sections with the geotechnical engineer. He's has a few weeks left of doing the field work, and then hopefully we'll have some results we'll be able to submit to the Corps and then apply for a permit. And pump number 2 at pump station number 2. So this pump had some damage due to some failures in the bearings. It's at Bowlin Marine. At the last meeting you approved the amount of the repairs. So currently the pump is being blasted and painted, and they are ordering materials and for the repairs to start working on that. We expect that they'll be complete sometime in March, sometime. Yeah.
That's it?
Questions?
Any questions for Joe? Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
GIS engineering, John.
Good afternoon, John Plaisance with GIS Engineering. The AE's Bayou Lafourche Water Retention Project, which is basically those 2 long red lines we'll be building levees in. We're still negotiating with the property owner on the northern end. We're trying to get it from that green alignment to that blue alignment. We've given them some additional information they've asked for, but they have not responded from that over the was probably last month that we gave it to them. The D North ramp lift project is complete. On your agenda today, you'll have balancing change order number 4 in the amount of $6,447.24. Basically balancing quantities used in the field. There was a little bit more stone and a little bit more dirt that we put in. So,
All right, you've heard the recommendation of engineer to accept that change order number 4, the amount of $6,447.24. Moved by Brad, second by Gavin. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passed.
okay, the Raphael Project Road Bridge, we have got 4 or 5 different alternates we're looking at. We've pretty much finished 3 of them. We're still looking at 2 other alternates so we can get y'all a good series of prices. Not only y'all, but the property owners in the areas, so we can make sure that we give y'all a good project. That should be done in the next couple of weeks. So hopefully by next meeting, we'll have a little bit more information to give y'all. Next 2 projects, the A West levee improvement and the E North levee from the northwest corner to the northeast corner. We have, gotten that, both engineering agreements done, so we'll be starting those projects probably right after the first of the year. And then the riprap damage to the Breton Canal, they should be actually mobilizing on site today. So in the next couple of days, hopefully we'll be seeing material being moved.
Good.
And again, we don't anticipate this being long. I think we gave them 90 days, but I think it's more of a 30-day job.
Needs to be done, yeah.
And we're using bigger rocks and we're gonna cement it.
Much bigger rock and concrete it in place, correct. And fill the hole.
All right, any questions for John?
Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Money, huh?
Angela Design, Neil.
Hit the balancing changeover.
It's little.
All right, on the B North, B South levee maintenance, there's 2 contractors working on that effort. New Gym Construction, working on the protected side berm. We do have their invoice number 1058 in the amount of $68,812.50 for work done last month, and we do recommend payment of that.
Did I hear what you said, 68?
68,000, yes, sir.
Okay. All right, you've heard the recommendation of my engineer to pay New Gym invoice number 1058, amount of $68,812.50. Moved by Mitch, second by Mr. Rowland. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passed.
And then the other contractor we have working on that levee segment, he was doing some flood side work and now mainly working on the protected side berm is Compo & Sons Construction. We do have his invoice number 1458 in the amount of $184,547.50, and we do recommend payment of that as well.
Okay, you've heard the recommendation of engineer to pay Compo & Sons invoice 1458, the amount of $184,547.50. Moved by Brad, second by Brian. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Just an overall update on this project. Our office and Nick looked at this in the field last week. We do have a good stopping point, we think, for both of these contractors coming up in the next month or so. It's going to make sense, I think, for them to stop at that point. All of this area is going to be encompassed by a much larger project that we're currently in the early design phase of. So we don't think it makes any sense to get these contractors to do anything more than what they're going to do over this next month or so. So you will see these recommendations stopping probably after next month.
Okay.
The effort that's been going on has been more of, not say emergency, but more of a maintenance issue.
Yeah.
That in the past, this was a section of levee that we had increased the height of in-house, and the protected side slope of that levee was never really what it should have been, and so that's what the purpose of this work has been, to try to get to that 3-to-1 slope that we've got around the rest of or that we target for the rest of the system. But like Neil's saying, we've already approved a contract for Angela Design to work on this entire section of levee from Basons and pump station number 2 all the way down to the Ronald Colley pump station at the Oak Ridge Park. So all of B North and B South is going to be addressed as part of a larger project, probably phased out and in smaller increments, but eventually the elevation is going to be higher here. This work was it wasn't to increase elevation, it was just to maintain that protected side slope.
It was too steep before.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I have. Yes, sir.
Any questions for Neil? Thank you, Neil.
Thank you.
Delta Coast, Kyle?
Kyle Pierce, Delta Coast Consultants. In regards to Morganza Program Management Report, we have the Reach L levee south of the Apache Forum has been completed to +10. And now we're actually, Terrebonne Levee is finalizing an engineering contract to raise that same exact levee to +12, add another couple feet to that. In regards to the pipelines, the pipeline wall at Williams, moving nicely. The sheet pile walls along the sides have been driven, and they just actually they're about to complete the first pipeline, the 18-inch pipeline. The cutoff wall down below has been driven, and I think they're working on the top portion of that. And they're going to move on to the second pipeline, which is the 30-inch, and they expect that to be completed by the end of this year. And there's still 2 more after that to drive as well. So that project is moving along nicely. In terms of the coastal restoration that Mitch talked about last meeting, we called CPRA and got a little update on that. They're still in the process of getting that intergovernmental agreement completed. It's pretty close. to being done, and they expect to be sending that to you guys soon. I think that's going to be real soon. The water monitoring stations, we have gone through and prepared plans and specs on that. We went through an internal review with a couple of the guys that have a lot of experience with that, and they tweaked it a little bit, so they plan to have that completed. Our guys plan to have that completed on Friday of this week to send out the facility planning. So that's where we stand with that.
And that's the last piece. Once facility planning and control approves that bid package, then we should be able to, ideally January, but depending on how those state employees are working throughout the holidays.
Installing that?
Could be, yeah. So that should be, ideally, we'd love to be able to give the approval to go out for bid on this in January, depending on how fast facility planning and control can review it. Worst case, I'd say February, and then put it out for bid. 6-month construction time? Everything already be in place, but a lot of it will be in place before the hurricane season.
Any questions?
Any questions for Kyle? Thank you, Kyle.
All right, thank you.
Also, Stevie Smith.
Good afternoon, everybody. I got a couple of projects to report on. The first one on the agenda is our terrace repairs at Reach K. I got a very positive report today from my folks saying that the reimbursement to the district is moving its way through the process. I'll say that to Mary and Nick. If you see any money, please call me, because we've been chasing this forever. Okay. But I do think that's happening very shortly based on the report I got today. The other project we have is the center section of Reach K. So this is work that was funded by the state and implemented by the Terrebonne Levee District. So the middle portion of Reach K and the lower portion of Reach K are all at a +11. That work is complete. You can see some of the berm work and some of the armoring work that was done. Once we finished building the levee up to 11, we had some material left over, so we repaired some of the berm along Reach K and then put in about 1,600 or 1,700 feet of armoring on the cutoff canal side, because that erodes pretty rapidly with all the boat traffic and some of the wetlands loss we've had out there. So you can see some of that armoring was done. So frankly, that project ended up benefiting that area tremendously. But all that work is now complete. So this will probably be my last update on the Reach K stuff.
And again, this is all Morganza to the Gulf projects, Reach K and Reach L. That's being managed by the Terrebonne Levee District, but it's all in our jurisdiction because it's in Lafourche Parish. So that's why we get these updates.
Right, that's right. So in that same vein, just for the board's understanding, so now on Reach K we have about, 4 or 5 miles of levee up to 11, and we got 2 water control structures. You know, everybody goes crabbing, right? So those things are about a 4.5 or 5. So now you got, those are the weak links in the chain. And we were able to secure some money through CPRA to begin the design work to replace both of those. So that design work, again, is being managed by the Terrebonne Levee District, but we're doing the kickoff meeting for the design work on that tomorrow. And so those structures will be anywhere from 16 to 18 feet in elevation. The floodgate, the Bagala floodgate is up to +18. The Pointe-Champ floodgate's to 18, so you think you might want to go to 18. Of course, the kicker is the levee's only to 11, so it's going to take quite a while to get to 18. So we're going to kind of value that to see whether we want to go to 16, 18. But either way, we're going to do design work in the next 6 to 8 months and hopefully start replacing those with some that are a little bit more robust in terms of hurricane protection. But I want to say this into the mic. You're still going to be able to catch crabs out there. We don't want to revolt. People showing up at the next board meeting say you can't catch them. You can catch crabs in Pointe-Champ still. It's okay. All right. The last thing on the agenda related to us is we worked with the staff here to get some pre-positioned contracts for next year's under contract. So the board approved 3 contracts with 3 vendors who are going to be on call for next hurricane season in case you have a disaster. You got some folks that are already under contract to mobilize equipment or materials if you need it. So that'll be executed in the next month or so. And that's it.
Any questions for Stevie? Thank you, brother. All right, moving on to legal permits. Anything, Mitch?
No, none this month.
Okay. Board attorney? Nothing? All right. Finance committee, Monty is the chairman. He's not here, but we reviewed all invoices and the we need to pay them. So, moved by Mitch, second by Brett, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passed. Personnel Committee, Gavin?
Personnel Committee met a little earlier this afternoon, and we discussed a few matters, and we took care of those matters.
We don't need any approval. Any old business? Any old business? Any new business? No need for executive session? Okay, I entertain a motion. Moved by Brett, second by Mr. Rowland, that we adjourn. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passed. Right.